here.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bruce. Introductions of the guest. Bruce was aggressive in acknowledging he was here. Do we have anyone else that wishes to introduce themselves?
You got George Clark, Tri-County Council.
Sarah Blake Wallace, Calvert County Planning and Zoning.
Sean Barcelona, MDOT State Highway Regional Planning.
Sabrina Hecht, Community Planning Liaison Officer, NAS Pax River.
Jason Levitt, Calvert County Department of Public Works.
Dan Jacobsek, Maryland Department of Transportation, Office of Planning Capital Programming.
Tyson Byrne, MDOT.
Yeah, Kwasi, Land Use and Growth Management.
I'm sorry, Quasi, you have the floor, sir.
I didn't hear you.
You have the floor.
Oh, okay, okay. Now the next item will be the approval of the minutes. Can you show up the last minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I second the minutes.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Yeah, thank you.
Opposed? Okay.
Yeah,
Next
thank.
item, Quasi.
Yeah, thank you. The action items of the two special studies to be reviewed and then approved today. Can you show the diagrams of the two special studies? The two action items that we are here, to are one, the St. Mary's County FDR Boulevard Transformational and Implications Facing Planning Study. As you've seen on the screen, we're looking at examining existing and planned land uses along FDR Boulevard, estimate traffic generation from these land uses, and then any connectivity and accessibility, to the Lexington Park Development District as such, and the number of planning implications so far as this FDR Boulevard is concerned. And then the next one is in Calvert. The proposal is for a Cove Point Road trail study. And the deliverables are to examine the various possible trail points and any other access, to recommend how they could maximize any economic benefits of a proposed trail, and look at roadway conditions, streams, and other trace access points, and to identify barriers. So these are the two main studies that I sent to you, and recommend ask the TAC to take a look and recommend to the council for approval if possible.
Mm-hmm. Steve, I can speak on behalf of the FDR project. It's moving along at a glacial pace, being facetious. Okay. But it's a 3-mile road project, and at the end of 12 years they'll do 1.2 miles, and after I'm gone, they'll figure out how to get the 1.7 miles done of it at the end. And I'm okay with what Quasi's presented here because we've been studying it for years.
Good.
And you can speak to Cove Point, I reckon.
Yes, can the TAC take a look at the projects and then recommend to the council?
Yeah, I will make a motion to send it to the council. This is Sean with SHA.
Okay, thank you.
Have a motion?
I'll second it, Steve. I'll second Steve.
Okay. Yeah. Is the vote for both the FDR Boulevard and the Cove Point Trail study?
Are we making a motion for the Cove Point? Is that what you're asking?
Can you repeat?
I say, is
Yeah,
the vote
yeah,
for
I will second that motion.
both for
Yeah.
the Cove Point and Edia Boulevard?
Yes, both.
Okay,
Yeah, both, exactly. Yep.
okay. Thank you very much. I think we are through that. So the TAC has recommended for approval of these two studies and then also the UPWP. And it's now up to the council, to approve, adopt a resolution, for these studies.
This is Tyson Byrne. Point of question. So that first action was just the technical committee making the recommendation to the board. So now the board, we're asking to adopt the UPWP, which includes those two projects?
Yes,
Is that
please.
what you're asking us to do?
Yes, please. Mhm.
Okay. I motion that the board of the Calvert St. Mary's MPO adopt the 2022 or fiscal year 2022 UPWP.
I'll second that.
Yeah, thank you very much. So now the council has actually approved the UPWP, adopted a resolution that includes these two projects. The next item, the discussion item is number 6. That is the UPWP work up to date. Currently, the UPWP is working on the complete streets plan. We have about 3 or 4 months for the consultants to finish. So that is all. And then following the adoption of this UPWP, there will be a submission of the UPWP FY 2020 to MDOT and to FHWA. If no one has any other questions, I'll move on to other business. The other business, the first one is the rotation of the chairmanship. After every calendar year, the first meeting, the chairmanship rotates. So now the Commissioner Williams will hand over to Commissioner Todd Morgan after this meeting, and who will preside over the MPO activities also for the next 1 year. Dan, do you have any other business? Or Tyson, do you have any other business to bring up?
Well, I think the only other thing we wanted to bring up was that we were looking for, you wanted to ask the council to support letter of support for MDOT to submit the Great Mills Raise project. So just so everybody knows, we're putting together a grant this year again for the Great Mills Improvement Project, which was added to the TIP last fall. And we've sent a draft letter out to the counties and to yourself, just to have the chairperson of the CSMPO and actually has had the council support it. So if you want to take a quick vote on it, you could, but I suppose I just get everybody's okay that you're going to send in a letter of support for that grant project.
Yeah, this is round 3 for this try, isn't it, Tyson?
Thank you.
Yes, correct.
Okay, I think a letter came down for the commissioners to sign next week. So, yeah, obviously the MPA will sign off on the letter.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We move on from other business. Can we check if there's any public comment on our discussions today? Is there a way to check with the telephone lines?
Yes, so you dial 1235 and ask Ms. Young.
Hello, Sherry, have we had any calls for public comment? Okay, thank you. There's been no calls at this time.
Okay, there's been no public comment. I think we are completing our meeting today. I thank you all very much for reviewing the UPWP financial year 22 with all its contents and then the two special projects. They will be signed and then submitted to MDOT FHWA. And I thank you very much. And if there's anything else, then I need to adjourn the meeting.
Let me ask one question. Tyson, is the, who will, I guess I'll be signing the letter now on behalf of the MPO for the Great Mills Project. Do we have that letter? Do we have stationery down here for that?
Yes, there was a little bit of, we discussed it yesterday, and I have the stationery done, but I didn't bring it out here.
Just get it sometime.
Yeah, okay.
I'll get it signed. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. That's good.
Okay.
With that, I'll make the motion.
Actually, this is Dan on that. If we can get it by the end of the month, we're good.
Oh, okay. That's plenty of time, Dan.
Okay.
Thanks.
Then I'll make the motion to adjourn. Unless, Steve, you got something?
Sorry, I got something else that you just sort of reminded me of. In addition to this grant, I mean, there's been a lot of projects that have been put in through the current budgeting bill in regards to the earmarks for federal DOT funding. We and the MPOs have been asked to support or put in commitments of putting them in the long-range plans and the TIPs. So any of the projects that come from this region, we hope that get earmarks on. We need to make sure we get them in the TIPs. So we need to make sure that they get acted on pretty quickly. So there may be a need for a meeting fairly quickly in the next fiscal year.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask this question. I saw in Maryland Matters this week the list of the plus-up projects that the Maryland delegation had been approved by the Congress, and I don't think anything for St. Mary's or Calvert was on that list. Am I correct?
Yeah, this is Dan. That is really new, very new news, and we know it's not on the list as well.
Excuse me?
Okay, sorry, I hadn't seen the list yet.
Okay, so I guess then the rhetorical question is, none of our projects for St. Mary's or Calvert made the plus-up list. And the list seemed to, when I read it, it seemed that the list was finalized. So do we expect that there's something else out there that I'll say Todd's not aware of for plus-ups that, you know, have already sort of been decided?
Nothing that we know of.
You know, we can look into a little bit more. We're also getting requests from congressional representatives on different projects, and but I don't have an update on all of them. We don't have an update on all of them.
So are you saying that there's multiple plus-up projects going through multiple layers within Congress?
Well, I don't know the specifics. I know that we've been asked to look into a couple projects over the last few months across the state, including the TJ Bridge, which
No, I understand the question. I understand all that. And my question is, since the list is the list according to Maryland Matters has already been finalized, and and they listed all the projects in the state that we're going to get plus up through the congressional staffers, both Congress on the House side and the Senate side. Do you believe it? Then there's another. Are we just spinning our wheels going through an effort that has already been decided? Because I said, yes, we know we got those letters some time ago from Mr. Hoyer, Mr. Sarbanes, and Mr. Van Hollen, and we all wrote our letters in there accordingly, asking for not only St. Mary's projects, but Calvert projects and MPO projects. They all went in, they all came back. The answer looked like in Maryland Matters, nothing made it. So are we saying that there's something else out there to put our hopes on besides submitting for the build or the access or whatever the grant is called this time for, I just used the Great Mills project?
There are other discretionary grants that keep rotating through, and that we will continue to evaluate the applicableness of those particular discretionary grants. I haven't seen the Maryland Matters list, so I did not know that it was in there, or that Calvert St. Mary's didn't get any projects. So I was more making reference to that the congressional earmarks that I had not seen the list of yet.
Okay, well, today's Friday. It was in Maryland Matters sometime this week, and they identified all the projects that had been plussed up by transportation via recommendations from the congressional staffs. Prince George's County made out real well. I think Tyson, Sean Powell has that list.
I will look at it shortly. You had made a motion for dismiss or ending the meeting?
I made that motion before I opened my big mouth again.
Yeah, he made a motion, to dismiss the meeting, and if you could send us some much more further information on any discussion that is going on out there, we'd be most grateful. But the motion has been passed already to dismiss the meeting.
Need a second.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, John.
So,